Good morning and welcome back to Williamsville North High School. Frank Wolf and Francis Beck has made his way to the press box area, and he's going to be helping us operate one of the cameras for us. Currently on your screen, you're watching Fredonia and Niagara Wheatfield, and we're not sure how that one shaked out. It looks like it's over. It could be over. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, that one I believe is over. They're about to come out and shake hands. I'm told Fredonia was 1-1 heading into this matchup. I don't know if they won this game or not. We'll have to wait and see. But that was the first time that we were able to see Coach Eric O'Brien lead the Falcons for the first time under his tutelage.
Lead the football Falcons.
The football Falcons,
to be clear.
Correct, yes.
He's led that boys basketball team very well for the past few seasons, and longtime assistant coach at North Tonawanda, and now he's going to be coming over to Wheatfield to take over the football team. So we'll see if that success from the basketball team can carry over into the fall.
So Maritime is going to be heading back to that field. Who they will play, I am not quite sure. I am looking across the field, Francis, to try and see who that is, and it looks like it's, I mean, Pioneer's over there, but I can't see them playing Maritime a second time today. But when I talked to Coach Dupree, even he wasn't sure how this whole format was shaking out. So if he's playing Maritime again, not so surprising. Of course, these are two teams that played last year in the playoffs, and Coach Dupree thought that Maritime was just as intense and as good opponent as they've ever faced. He was very high on Maritime. So out in the distance, it looks like Akron's out there waiting for someone to play. Akron is up there on that field way out there, and I guess that's almost the baseball field, Francis, isn't it?
Yeah, baseball field.
Okay. And then the closer shot, Mark Norder is handling that duty. You're looking at Will North down there, and I want to say that's Orchard Park is going to be down over there. So we'll have to wait and see if, in fact, that's Orchard Park. I've only seen Canisius once so far on the field, and that was the very first scrimmage of the day. It was Canisius and Fredonia. I talked to Coach Jordan Sherlock just a while ago before we had all of our issues, and he was telling me that I need to keep my eye out on a gentleman named Jamison Quinn, returning, a wide receiver. He's only a junior. He was a sophomore last year, had limited playing time in that Hillbilly offense, and of obvious reasons. You got a guy like Matt Lotter and Nick Whitfield and Simon Davis, so those three horses are all gone. But he believes Quinn is going to put a stamp on he's going to put his own mark on that program heading into the season, Francis. We'll have to wait and see. Had a couple of nice catches in both of those scrimmages out there today with Canisius and Maritime, so we'll have to wait and see how he plays here in his next scrimmage. We'll have to get it. Hopefully we'll get another look at him. They've played 3 games now, and I know all teams were getting a minimum of 3 games, so whether or not they play again, I don't know. I do know that my buddy Josh from Tape Kaje is here, and I don't know what teams he's filming, maybe a little bit of all of them. Maybe he's going to do a nice melt for you later today. I'll have to catch him later and see exactly what he's doing, but I know he was out there. And he always puts some pretty good highlight packages together, does he not, Francis?
Yeah, he does a great job.
So I see Will North down there, Francis, and now so they're playing Niagara Wheatfield, Francis. That's Niagara Wheatfield. That's Xander Fletcher on your screen now. And he's that left-handed quarterback, and he has a nice little sling out there. We'll see if we can't get that on the replay. We can't get that. Well, there's the throw. Wide open receiver. And I guess he goes in untouched, Francis.
Yeah, he was kind of wide open over the middle. I wonder if there's maybe a miscommunication. You kind of see some the defenders talking to each other right now. So I think there was a bit of a miscommunication on that play among the defense. That allowed them to get open.
And this is where you want to have it. This is where you learn your defensive partners. This is where you learn who needs to be where and things of that nature. You're learning your defensive strategies, where guys need to go, where they need to be on the field at all times. This is the time and place for it. This is where you want to make your mistakes. This is where you learn.
Yeah, Niagara Wheatfield is, of course, going to be in that A1 division this year. They're going to be with Lockport, Jamestown, Clarence, Frontier, and Williamsville North. So Niagara Wheatfield, a team that kind of bounces around between A and AA every couple of years. So they'll be in A1, and that's going to be a very interesting division. You have Jamestown, which is still going to be good. Frontier, we think they have a lot of linemen back on that team. It's going to be very interesting in A1.
Julie Arnold's up here. I can't believe it. God bless her. Thank you very much for allowing us in today. She's not mic'd up. She's going to lock this, which means she's going to lock us in. I have to hop out this window if I want to get out of here. Julie Arnold comes from far away. She comes up here. She was, I want to say Brockton. I'm going to go with Brockton. She's saying correct. So, yes, she's a Brockton girl making her way up to Williamsville. That's pretty cool. Anyways, we're at this beautiful campus, athletic complex here at Williamsville North. We had to weasel our way in here. We had to beg, plead, but she allowed us to be here. So thank you very much again, Julie. You're getting all the accolades today. You got them even before you got here. I didn't know you were going to be here, so thank you. Max Zimmerman gave us a hard time about getting in here today, by the way. I mean, he was like standing in front of the door and said he wanted $20. Just kidding, Max. He's not listening anyways. He's working. He's on the field somewhere with the Williamsville North team, I hope. So we've got 4 teams in action right now getting ready to go on that opposite field. I can't make out who that is, Francis. I want to say that's Akron and maybe Pioneer. Yeah, because we saw Pioneer down here earlier. Right. They thought they were going to play Maritime again. So Maritime's waiting for an opponent. Could be Canisius. I haven't seen Canisius in almost an hour. So hopefully we'll get a look at Canisius, and I'd like to get a good look at...
Maybe that's Canisius down there, because I think Orchard Park is to our far right.
It could be. That's probably Orchard Park down there sitting against the fence line. We do know Will North and Niagara Wheatfield are going at it on what we consider to be Field 1, right? We're calling that Field 1, Francis?
You're the one who's been here for 2 hours.
I don't know. No, that's camera 2. Field 2. I'm giving up. Nonetheless, you're getting free football today.
Yeah, we saw Niagara Wheatfield just score a touchdown in their first drive, so they get some stuff to go. Now Williamsville North's offense is going to take the field from the 40-yard line.
So we know Kendall Donovan is the premier player for the Spartans
this
year.
Is he the fastest kid? Is he the fastest player in Western New York?
Well, I don't know.
He might be.
I don't know. I mean, there was only 100 players at that.
90 players.
90 players, and 20% were linemen. So they're not going to keep up with a guy like Donovan. But still, there's.
I mean, I didn't see too many guys missing from that list. Let me put it that way, who weren't there.
I guess. We'll have to wait and see. You know who might be really fast is that Davis kid from Fredonia, who's returning, and his name is. Let's pull up that Fredonia roster. We just had it. We'll find it. Micah Davis, I think his name is. He's got some speed. His older brother Simon just graduated out of the program. We'll find the Fredonia roster and we'll go down it one more time and explore their weapons. We haven't really seen a whole lot of Niagara Wheatfield yet today. We didn't get to see much of their first scrimmage, but you're seeing them now take on Will North. And Francis, you were going over those divisions earlier, and I had them up, but I lost my. Oh, there we go. Okay.
I saved them as a picture. That's why I have them up so quickly.
Smarty pants. Will North, they're up there with Lockport, Jamestown, Clarence, Frontier, and Niagara Wheatfield. So these are 2 teams that are in the same division. They should see each other during the regular season. Which week that is, I'm not quite sure. But here's Mitch Kelly. And that's not Donovan. I don't believe that's Donovan, but whoever that is, that seems to be where he's going to. For much of the morning, I've seen them two on the same page quite a bit. And we do have a highlight from them earlier in the day. A nice touchdown pass between Kelly and whoever that player is. It could be, and again, without numbers, it's very difficult, but I want to say that could be DJ Leonard, Francis. That's my guess. It could be Anthony Thomas or Joseph Padilla, just the same, or even Jordan Furby. Now, Jordan Furby, was it for Julie's giving me the thumbs up. We saw him at Sweet Home, Francis. He had a pretty good day out there.
Yeah, that was a cool event last week, the Greater Western New York Top 100 Showcase put on by Cross Training Athletics. That was a fun event. That's where we talked about Kendall Donovan being the fastest player possibly in Western New York. I ran, I think, a 4:44:40 time. Pretty smart, certainly faster than both of us.
I did talk to Assistant Coach Kelly at Sweet Home, and I had told him, and I've told you, and I've told a number of people that I think Will North is that dark horse team for me in A this year. And I'm not just saying that because Julie's in the building. I truly believe they could be that dark horse, Francis. I got to see that line, but I think they do have those positions they have those players in those skilled positions, the right players, especially when you look at a kid like Donovan, and then Kelly with another year under center, having a target like Furby could be the difference for Will North this year. And again, they're going to be competing against the Lockports. You've got Jamestown in that division. Clarence is always tough. Frontier's coming off an impressive season. Then Niagara Wheatfield has a brand new head coach. We'll have to wait and see what Niagara Wheatfield has. We do know they have one of the more solid quarterbacks and really just a solid individual in Alexander Fletcher.
Yeah, one of the better athletes, I would say, in Western. We saw him have a great season on the basketball court this year. And, if he can translate some of that success and that leadership onto the football team, Wheatfield's going to be scary.
Here's Mitch Kelly again. Donovan in the backfield. He lets that one go. That's going to go out of bounds. So we will stay here. Now, Francis, that's Maritime taking on Fredonia on field 2. So let me go back there. I believe that's where you are, right? Are you now on that field? Okay. Julie, thank you very much. If we don't see you, thank you so much. She is the best. She is the best. She is on the fast track to success here in Williamsville North. Okay. Back to field. That's technically field 1, Francis. Now I've got it. That's field 1. Fredonia and Maritime is on field 1. Will North and Niagara Wheatfield are on field 2. And then up there in the distance is Pioneer and Akron. They are on field 3. And maybe I was wrong. Those two teams, from what I gather, were undefeated heading into that matchup out there on that field. So those two teams, Akron and Pioneer, were undefeated. So let's just take a look at that. I'm on camera 3 now. No, I'm on camera 2, field 3. This is confusing. Who set this up? I told them, France, this is why they don't let me play with the toys around here. What made you do this? Anyways, so right now on your screen is that Pioneer-Akron game. And Pioneer has the ball. There is a bit of a quarterback competition going on there, Francis. We had Coach Dupree on earlier. He said that the competition is between Kyle Stover and a JV call-up, Cole Rodos. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. Kyle Rodos played on JV last year. He's going to be moving up to varsity this year, and he may be under center. Kyle Stover certainly couldn't get that job done, but they're hoping that that Rodos seizes the position. Yeah, not that he would be a better quarterback option of the two, but Stover is such a talented athlete that they'd like to get him in another spot and take advantage of his athleticism.
That reminds me kind of the situation that happened at Niagara Wheatfield a couple of years ago. Remember, they had Jordan Parks.
Yep.
Was a senior. He was their quarterback the year before, great quarterback, but they recognized he was a great athlete. They had a kid who was coming up who was maybe a more pocket quarterback, traditional pocket guy, and they thought maybe if they can get the pocket guy going, they can put Jordan Parks, play him sort of at that X wide receiver running back spot, and then you just add another weapon to really your offense.
Well, while you were chirping at me, you missed a touchdown on the Fredonia Maritime-Health play. We're going to see the footwork of the quarterback, but not necessarily the touchdown. Everyone blame Francis.
Trying to make a point here. I thought you were on
It
the
was
other
a good
game.
point. Just so you know, I only have 10 seconds, right, for a replay?
I think, no, it's longer.
It is? Well, I missed the entire thing myself, so I can't blame you anymore. I won't blame you anymore, Francis, today.
We'll see about that.
I see an interception on that Pioneer Akron field. Akron picked off a pass in that Pioneer scrimmage. And we're just kind of floating around here. Will North and has the ball right now in their matchup again. Excuse me, no, it's Niagara Wheatfield with the ball right now in their matchup with Niagara Wheatfield. So let's stick with that Will North Niagara Wheatfield game. These are only 25 minutes long. These games are only 25 minutes long here, so they're moving pretty quick. That's Fredonia's, as far as I know, that's their 4th game today. And not only is it their 4th game, it's their 2nd time taking on Maritime. So that's Ethan Fry. I'm going to jump back to Ethan Fry and Fredonia on camera. Francis, I'll call it. And I lost my Fredonia roster. No, I didn't. I found it on the floor here, blown away. Get over here. Okay. So Jamison Quinn is a kid you want to keep your eye on. And he is wearing number 15. Another guy is Mika Davis. And Mika Davis, if I could find him on the roster, I'll tell you what number he's wearing. I can't find him on the roster. So I couldn't tell you what number he's wearing. That's too bad. Keegan Whitfield, Nick's younger brother, wears 81. So you can keep your eye on number 81 if you see him out there. That's Keegan Whitfield. Right now he's holding a Gatorade bottle, Francis. He's at the 40. And he looks a lot like young Nick. He looks like a young Nick. We asked Coach Sherlock if he would come up and do an interview, and he said he was going to try and get up here. So maybe we'll maybe we'll have the opportunity to talk to Coach Greg Sherlock today and find out what's going on at that Fredonia Hillbilly program. That's Davis, number 22.
You know, looking at their division, so Fredonia is going to be in C-South this year. They're going to face Southwest, or at least in their division, is going to be Southwestern, Allegheny Limestone, Salamanca, Chautauqua Lake, Brockton, Westfield, and then Silver Creek, Forestville. And I look at that division, and we know Fredonia is a power. We talked about it doing well. So with Southwestern, Salamanca is kind of my dark horse to win that C-South division.
What are you doing Saturday, Francis?
I don't know.
Do you have any plans?
This is a random question.
I know. Well, Coach Dupree told me they're heading to Cortland for the New York State 7-on-7 thing. There's teams from all over New York State competing there. If you're not busy and you want to head down there,
we'll check into it later.
we might have to look into that. You know I can. I got a previous engagement that I cannot get out of. I wouldn't want to get out of, to be honest. But nonetheless.
All right, so C-South, I kind of see Salamanca as kind of the dark horse in that division right there. They returned Jesse Stallman. He had 1,044 yards last year, averaged 6.1 yards a carry as their running back. You know, he as a junior, he comes back as a senior, and I see, you know, we got to be honest, Fredonia loses a couple of their big guys. So does Southwestern, loses Aiden Kennedy. This might be Salamanca's chance to kind of leapfrog those teams and take control of C-South.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see. The nice thing, yes, you lose those skilled players, and a lot of the times they're irreplaceable, no matter what. They're just tough to replace. But they leave an impression on those sophomores and juniors that are now going to seize a bigger role in the offense or a bigger role in the defense, a bigger role in that locker room. And a lot of times you'll see a kid rise to the challenge. And I think that's what you're going to have to hope for if you're at Fredonia or one of those schools that is giving up a lot of talent like an Aiden Kennedy. You just can't replace Aiden Kennedy. I think we all know Southwestern is going to be a much younger team. You may see them running the ball a lot more than they have in the past, Francis. You got to, when you take an Aiden Kennedy out of the equation. Let's go back to this Maritime game. Taking on Fredonia, this 7-on-7. There's a deep pass down deep, but it's intercepted by a Fredonia player, and it looks like, to me, Francis, lost his footing, and the instant replay is not quite working for us. That's okay. We'll get that for the regular season, Francis, right? We'll get that in the regular season?
Yeah, we'll get that then. So let's talk about Maritime a little bit. They're moving up to A this year. They won, what, the last 2 or 3 B championships. Is it 3? Yeah, I think it's 3. It's 3. They won 3 Class B championships Maritime.
Oh, yeah.
Because they won 20
COVID year.
Yeah, the COVID year was the second year, and then they won last year to make it 3 in a row. And they move up to A this year. Going to be very interesting to see what they look like. They're in a really interesting division. They got Starpoint, Grand Island, Kenmore East, Will South, Amherst, and South Park. We're going to have a lot of fun matchups, I think, in that A3 division.
Ethan Fry went deep to the back of the right-hand corner of the end zone. Just overthrown that one a little bit, but you had to put it in a spot where that defensive back wasn't. And Fry recognized that. He can get some air under that ball, Francis. I've been watching him pretty intently, and he's got an arm. There was Antoine Hughley, now a senior for Maritime on the coverage. And we'll have to see what Coach Sherlock and company draw up on this next play. It looked to me like Niagara Wheatfield intercepted a Spartans pass down there. Here is Fry again. Pump fake. Nice throw over the middle to, it looked like Whitfield, who couldn't come up with that catch there. And let me go back. It looks like Whitfield's wearing number 6, not 81. He wore 81 last year. It looks like he took his brother's number. Number 6.
Well, these might be temporary jerseys.
Could be.
So let's not read too much into it.
I think at some point Nick Whitfield will have his number retired at Fredonia. I think he was that good of an athlete there. I think he had that kind of an impact on that program, football field, basketball field, and he could have been a heck of a pitcher too if he wanted to play 3 sports. So I think
he would. No, he was a pitcher.
He was, but he didn't. Not last year. He gave it up a couple years ago.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to head on back to field number 2, where Niagara Wheatfield is taking on Williamsville North. And this could be North's 4th game as well. I didn't see a whole lot of Whitfield. Here is Fletcher. He went to his 2nd target. He had locked eyes on a receiver far out to his right, then ultimately found another target. So he's got some range, Francis, and he's got the ability to move from one receiver to another. So he obviously can read the defense.
Yeah, the one thing you do miss in the 7-on-7 is without the line being there from a quarterback perspective. 1, the timing, and 2, the other thing is, the linemen, for shorter guys, sometimes the line can overtop you, can be too tall, and it makes it tough for you to see. So these shorter guys need to be aware. He's obviously not that much of a shorter guy. The vision's going to be different come game time with the linemen right in front of you. We know those linemen can be pretty big. If you got guys that are 6 foot and you're maybe 6'3", and you're maybe under 6 foot, that could be a little trouble for you to see.
We're talking about some of those A divisions. We spent a lot of time talking about A1, but in A2, West Seneca West, Kenmore West, Sweet Home, North Tonawanda, Will East, Hamburg, and McKinley, and some of the standout players there, Francis. Off the bat, you're talking about the running back from Kenmore West, Atkins.
Jermaine Atkins.
Jermaine Atkins at Sweet Home. You got this Jordan Theodore kid who is pretty explosive coming on late last year, the quarterback from Williamsville East, whose name is escaping me right now.
Sean Zanzone.
Sansone, yeah. He can
sling it.
the
I
ball.
think he was a top 5, top 10 quarterback last year in all of Western New York in terms of passing yards. And then you have a McKinley team that has probably the best sophomore running back heading into the season, Tyrone Hughes. Led all freshmen last year in rushing yards, and they also bring back another core bunch of receivers. Their quarterback, really both of their quarterbacks, and I think the one they're going to try to keep at wide receiver. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see McKinley take that division this year.
That'd be nice to see. Of course, they were in the stadium just a few seasons ago. And let's go back to that Fredonia Maritime game. Maritime is starting to march down the field. Of course, they're only playing with 40 yards. Right now, teams not in action right now is Orchard Park, Canisius, and Starpoint. Those 3 teams are getting a little bit of a break right now. We should see them return shortly. Love to see Coach Kurzansky. If we can get him up here for a few minutes, that would be to our benefit, certainly to our benefit. But of course, the viewers would love to hear from Coach Kurzansky, since we haven't heard a whole heck of a lot of them since taking over the storied Canisius program. Be nice to get a word in with him at some point today if he wants to come on up. The door is wide open. We did have Coach Jim Dupree here. Before we had those technical difficulties, Coach Jim Dupree gave us about 5 minutes. We appreciate his time. We talked about his program. We talked a little bit about Mike Riggerman, who he's hoping is an All-American next year. Thought he should have been this past year, but he's at Findlay College. Had a major impact in their offense as a tight end. And just he's a high-quality, high-character individual. And he just said those are the types of kids that come in once in a lifetime for the most part. You don't get too many of those kids. That's a backup quarterback for Maritime in there now. Number 1 is taking snaps, Francis. And those are the jerseys that they had from last year. So I will have to look and see if I can go to that. Where is that Maritime roster?
You know,
that's Antoine Hughley.
Yeah, I know. I think a couple guys we know, Casey Kaz and Tim Chiefer, were kind of saying, they've heard that these Maritime quarterbacks have gotten a lot of work in. Well, last year they had that huge running game. That line could push anyone over. I think they had 3 running backs all over 800 yards last year as they went to the state semifinals last year. So I think now they're just, I think they want to stick to that running identity. But if you could add in that passing game, I think you saw it too in that state semifinal when they went to the air. They had a little trouble with it when their line struggled a little bit and they couldn't really get much off. But maybe you add that in, get more of a balanced attack. So when that happens, your running game struggles. You have the passing game, something you can kind of go to as a second option, still be a viable threat.
We'll have to wait and see on that, Francis. I don't want to say for certain Eric O'Brien's out there because I haven't really seen him. I think I'm looking at him, but I don't know if he's here today. It certainly looks like him down there on the sideline, but I can't be certain. He's another one that, Francis, I would like to get down and see if we can't get him up in the booth in between games. I see a flag on the field. Ooh! Almost had a
little bit of a collision.
Two players collided there in the Niagara Wheatfield game. Just escaped there. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing this Orchard Park Team 2 today, Francis. I haven't seen that. I mean, we've seen individual players. We've seen Gosella just earlier in the week at Sweet Home. He's got a couple of nice wide receivers coming back, does he not?
He He does lose Keegan Makabelli, who was the #1 receiver last year, but he brings back Dylan Evans, who was #4. And imagine quarterback, you have the 2 of the top 5 wide receivers on your team. You're going to throw for a lot of yards, which he did. But, Dylan Evans has been working hard this offseason. I think we've all seen the videos on social media. And, he's been getting offers and looks from colleges. So I think Dylan Evans is going to be his big threat. It's going to be, can Gosella find another threat to kind of be that second guy? Not to say that he has to be Keegan Makabelli or Dylan Evans, just another threat out there to, get defenses to focus on and really respect. And then the next step is, you're building up your offensive line and a running back, and you can get a balanced offense. We saw last year they had a great passing attack, but their running game had trouble, especially against Bennett. We saw in that semifinal game they lost by 50 points. Simply, the line couldn't handle the Bennett line. They were really being badly by them, and I know people saw that game. You see the score and you might think, oh, is that running up the score? And I can tell you, I was there. It wasn't. There were plays in the second half. They would try to run it up the middle, not trying to run it up, and Allen or whoever would get free because the line was just that much better. And so that's really something that Orchard Park needs to work on this offseason is that offensive and defensive lines.
So Fredonia's offense is starting to get ready for another opportunity to take on this Maritime defense who just came up with a very good stop not long ago. And I don't know if you caught that or not, Francis, but that's Alex Newts as an assistant coach with Maritime. We found that out last Friday when we were at Sweet Home that Newts was joining that staff at Maritime. And, of course, he was a standout wide receiver and football player at Grand Island before making his way to UB and being a major impact player there with Joe Licata during his tenure there. And, he got a shot at the pros as well, Alex Newts, so he's well-rounded. And another very creative individual when it comes to calling an offense. So the Wheatfield and North game is over. We're going to hop up. I don't know if we can pull up any closer on that third field. If at all possible, Mark's over there now going to try and get a close-up of that field in the corner there. That's Pioneer and Akron. Francis has got the Fredonia Maritime scrimmage going on here on field 1, but that's Mark up in the corner there on field 3, and that's Akron and Pioneer, and that's a real good shot you got there, Mark, right now. So we'll just have to wait and see how this one plays out. Looks like it's Pioneer with a nice little touchdown in the back of the end zone there. Just can't get that instant replay working, and that would have been a prime opportunity to have a nice replay there. Back to the Fredonia Maritime game. Nice little pass out into the backfield. Something simple. They're trying to work a new quarterback into the system here. They're not really, so that's a nice little pass to kind of get on the same page as your receivers or your running back. Quick, short little passes to build up some confidence. Is the wind picked up out there?
A little bit.
Okay. I thought it did.
Well, you can hear it in the headsets, though, can't you?
Yes. So we are back on field 3. You're looking at Pioneer and Akron. That's Pioneer going for 2. And it looks like a pass slipped through the hands of an Akron player and into the waiting arms of a Panther down there. So Pioneer gets another, I believe that would be another 2 points. We have no idea what the scores are of any of these games. We can't tell who's winning or losing. There's no score clock here. We're just having a lot of fun. And it looks to me, Francis, like Orchard Park is getting ready to take on Will North. It looks to me like that's the next game here down on field 2. So that looks like Canisius could be heading then over to field 1. Or maybe they're there in the distance on field 3. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But that's the Orchard Park and the Will North coaches talking down right now just below us. We'll have to wait and see. There's Maritime airing one out into the end zone, and that's a nice little 30-yard touchdown. Francis, you get that one?
Yeah, I got that one.
I didn't get it because I wasn't on you, but we are going to take just a little bit of a break. We want to just kind of retool, make sure we got everything working right here for you folks. We've been on for quite a bit of time now, and you're probably getting a little tired of hearing this. So let's take a quick little break. We'll do a picture. No, we'll take a 1 minute, good 2 minute timeout here. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You're watching high school football 7-on-7 from Williamsville North on WNY Athletics.
I love being home.
There's nothing better than owning the perfect house to come home to. You've earned it, and we'll make it happen. Our local real estate experts and in-house team of financial professionals make buying or selling your home simple. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
I love being home.
When it's time to sell your home, start with a visit to howardhanna.com, ranked the #1 real estate site for sellers. A few clicks will show you the sales price you can expect for your home. We can get you the most money in the quickest amount of time because we know where the local buyers are and how to reach them. So if it's time to sell your home, visit howardhanna.com today, and we'll match you with a local Howard Hanna agent to sell your home fast.
I love being home.
If you've been injured in an auto accident, large or small, call 681-4088. RES Physical Medicine and Rehab right away. If you are in pain or just sore, don't take chances. Call RES today and take advantage of their 24 to 48-hour appointment pledge. With no copays, RES will help navigate the confusing world of no-fault insurance with you, so you can concentrate on getting better. 681-4088. RES Physical Medicine and Rehab. The most important call you can make after an auto accident.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
Call 835-WOLF. Remember, you call on the Wolf. That's all you had to say. Call today.
I love being home.
We realize now more than ever is the perfect time to have the perfect house. We're confident we'll find your dream home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
Welcome back to Will North High School in East Amherst, New York. You're watching high school 7-on-7 action from Williamsville North High School, and we're just kind of cutting in. We may go back to another quick commercial break because we are trying to bring in some interviews, coaches to talk to while games are going on. So we're going to go down and try and pull a coach up who is not currently on a coaching a team right now. So we're going to go down and try and get a couple of interviews. Just stay with us. You may continue to watch without audio, which is something we've done in the past this morning. So why don't we do that? We're going to go to another quick commercial break. But when we come back, you may not have audio for just a little bit because we are trying to get some interviews for you. But I'm sure you're enjoying the free high school football footage nonetheless. We'll be back in just a few moments. You're watching on WNY Athletics. Welcome back to Williamsville North High School. You're watching the Open 7-on-7. We're not sure exactly what this is called. But either way, we've got a great day out here. The sun's out. Not too bad. Not a major breeze coming through, but enough to give the kids some kind of relief. And you see the tents out there along the fence. You got Akron, you got Pioneer, and Orchard Park was out there a little earlier. I think Fredonia got here first because they took that dugout. So they must have been the first ones to arrive today. And, of course, Will North, they got the other dugout. Home field advantage going on for them today. But we are very, very lucky right now to have a few minutes to share with Coach Craig Kurzansky of the Canisius Crusaders. Coach, you are roughly 3 months into your stint there now. Since how difficult of a decision was it for you to leave Will South, the program where you've had so much success?
Difficult is one thing. It's probably the wrong term to describe it. I was going to retire from Will South or from Williamsville, and I just think the coach should be in the building.
Okay.
And I made a decision in August not to go back because of that. And so I'm a big advocate of the coach being in the building, working with the kids daily, not only with football but in school and behavior issues. So I knew I wasn't going back, but I also knew whoever was going to take it over was going to be in good shape because we had some nice kids coming back.
I heard that same philosophy from Coach Mamalotti, who retired from North not too long ago, who said that, Frank, when I am no longer teaching here, it'd be very, very tough for me to coach here because you just don't have your eyeballs on the kids all day long.
No, and you can ask a young boy to do things that he's uncomfortable doing if he trusts you. And you build that trust on a day-to-day basis. It's hard when you see him once a month, once a week, whatever. So, yeah, I find it more important to be in the building and be in their lives if you're going to ask them to do difficult things for you.
So you're coming to a very storied program, Canisius. I don't know how many state championships, let alone Monsignor Martin championships they've had, but they've had a lot of success over the years. Of course, leaving this year was Tyler Baker, who was under center for them. Mm-hmm. What's going on with that program now? What are you walking into year one?
Unfortunately, a lot of the kids left us. 2 or 3 of them transferred out to Bennett High School. A couple kids went back to their home schools. 1 kid went back to Rochester. So we lost probably our top 7 players. 1 kid transferred down to some place in South Carolina. We currently have 4 seniors on our roster, which is not a good situation, but they're all good kids and they're all good players. We will be really heavy laden with sophomores and juniors, but I think we can be competitive. I like our compete level. We do have some really good young athletes, and so you're right, this is the schedule we have. What you had said, Frank, about all those championships, they don't really matter this year. I mean, that's tradition. It doesn't particularly help you with beating Walsh Jesuit opening week in Ohio.
No, certainly not. So you're going to have your hands full. It's not necessarily a rebuild. It's just getting acclimated with the private school kids.
Yeah. They were 6-4 last year. We were 6-4 last year, and it's not a rebuild. They never rebuild at Canisius. But it is about recruiting young kids who want to be there, who can afford it, making it right for them. It's a difficult school academically. That scares a lot of kids off. But, no, we just got to keep getting Canisius-type kids. We got to keep supporting them when they're in school. And I think we'll be back to where we've been in the past soon.
How difficult is it for a kid to get into Canisius? Like, do you know what the criteria is academically?
I can advocate for certain kids for certain situations and certain scenarios, either financially or academically. The nice thing about Canisius is they listen to the story of the kid before they make that decision. Some kids have had crises in their lives, or they have had, parents pass away, or, everything's an individual. But obviously academics matter. You're probably not getting in with less than an 80 average, but that's just the way it works.
Yeah, and that's kind of what separates you guys from a lot of other institutions.
Yeah, and I hope that can be a recruiter for us as well. You come out of Canisius, you're going to be well-versed for the world. You're going to handle college if that's what you choose to do. You're going to be able to handle the service, if that's the discipline that they instill, or if you want to start your own work. It's a great school. I went to school there, which makes it exciting.
So, talking about the recruiting class that's coming in, was it a late start for you trying to get guys in for this year, and maybe it's a longer term project for you?
Yes, it has been. Obviously you put a lot of work into current 8th graders or to-be 9th graders. Those kids' decisions, a lot of them were made already by the time I had gotten there. But we have, I think, 42 kids have shown interest in playing football, which would be a nice freshman class. We don't have many on the varsity right now. I think we have a total of 27, which is not conducive to going and playing the schedule we do, but it is what it is. We're going to try to build from the bottom up. We have some really good young players, so I'm optimistic. And like you said earlier, it's Canisius. It's not like I'm not rebuilding. I'm just putting some touches on it, and hopefully we keep getting good kids.
Have you had conversations then with Coach Jerry Smith of St. Francis and Corona of St. Joe's? Have they welcomed you back into the brotherhood, I should say?
Jerry was the first one to text me, so yeah, Jerry and I go back a long time. Mr. Coach Corona I have not heard from, but Jerry has always been terrific ambassador of the game, and he's a good coach. And so he, of course, we have our hands full week 8.
And of course, I didn't even see when the Joe's game. I want to say it was
week 4.
It's week 4. Okay,
yep.
So week 4 at Joe's, and at Joe's is that St. Joe's this year?
Correct.
So that'll be your first really. Well, you've been there before, but just talk about jumping back into that rivalry, Joe's and Canisius, and what that means to the area.
Well, it was the rival at one point in the 80s and 90s and earlier than that. But when St. Francis got really good, I think the emphasis probably went to Canisius and St. Francis. Joe's has struggled recently, but they have a couple of really good young players in their program, and I know that Matt's going to do a good job. He works hard. But to answer your original question, it's a game that our kids know about. It's a game that the alumni care about, and so you have to prepare for that.
Week 1, I think you mentioned you're playing Walsh Jesuit.
Yep.
Is that just one of those games you take to get the kids more exposure?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always about exposure. Colleges are going to ask who you played, not what their stats were or what the film looks like. They want good film against good players, good opponents. The problem with Jesuit or Walsh Jesuit is it'll be their 3rd game of the year. It'll be our 1st game.
Okay.
And so that's a disadvantage that we have to try to overcome. Being a new coach, that's even a bigger challenge. But that's who's on our schedule. And then we go to Rochester to play Aquinas week 2. So that's who we open up with. So
how'd you get that Aquinas game back on the schedule? Because for years they took that game away from you.
I'm a good friend with Tony Bianchi, the AD there, and and Coach, and Aquino is a good friend of mine too. I was out in Rochester, remember, my first 12 years as a coach, so I knew those guys, and so they were willing to come back and get that on the schedule, and they have a non-leaguer, and we just decided to play week 2.
Excellent. So that's actually one of those games that we missed when Section 5 told them they had to play their schedule. Canisius came off, Joe's came off of their schedule, and McQuaid came off your schedule as well. But
correct.
That kind of hindered the way you guys scheduled. Obviously you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But those guys had a tough time getting games.
You're limited with public school games locally just because they have to fill. Being a public school coach for so many years, they have to fill their schedules out with public schools first. And so when there's an even number of public schools, there's no non-league games between Catholics and publics. Now this year there is an uneven number. And so that's why we play Lancaster in week 5, and then we play Maritime in week 3 as well. But the schedule's ever revolving. It's difficult for us to fill out at times. We have to go to Ohio twice and Pennsylvania twice, but that's we think it's worthwhile with our kids and the exposure they get. And the proof is kind of in the pudding because we've had a number of kids get offers over the last 10 years, and so that's kind of what we're doing.
So I don't know how this question is going to come out, but I'm going to ask it.
Sure.
A team like Canisius, where you have college coaches, you're on every college coach's radar, just because you produce so many Division I athletes. is it fair to say then a team like Canisius is better off going and playing a program from Ohio than playing a program from Western New York Section 6, a public school from Section 6, just because that team from Ohio is also on the college coach's radar? And like you said earlier, they want to see who you match up against. So it's got to be the best team in Section 6, maybe for Canisius to take that game.
I think, to your point, I think when you have good public schools locally, that could be a good game where people would come and watch. I'm talking about Division I and Division II guys. Division III ain't going to recruit anywhere but 3 hours from their campus, really. Yep. And so when you go to Ohio, you expose your kids to every college that's going to watch a kid from Ohio. And so, you tend to have a little bit more opportunities, but you also have some more street cred. I mean, when you play those types of schools and you play well or you compete well, then they think your kids can play football. And they're better. Because a lot of these colleges, too, Frank, they don't want to wait for kids anymore. That's why the JUCO portal has been so big for these colleges. They're not waiting for a kid to develop, and if the football on film doesn't look like that kid can come in and compete within the first couple of years, then that young boy don't get an opportunity, even though maybe athletically he's gifted. But so I think that's where it does help.
Okay. Coach, I know you're looking for your team out there. One real quick,
Sure.
You brought a good friend of ours, Chris Glenn, onto the staff. How is that going to help you with getting through to the players, these new guys that you're going to see?
Yeah, Chris speaks the same language as I do in regards to offensive football, so he will have a bigger and bigger role offensively as we move along the season. I hired 3 young guys who went to Canisius to do our defense, and so Chris's presence will give me more chance for oversight on the defensive side of the ball, which I probably know better than the offense, to be honest with you, because I cut my teeth growing up as a defensive coach. So these 3 young guys are terrific. They all went to Canisius High School. They all play college football, but it would give me an opportunity to work with them on a day-to-day basis more because Chris Glenn's around.
And my last question to you, everyone's going to ask you this, plus minus on punts for Canisius this year.
Well, our All-American punter, Alec Reynolds, went back to Williamson.
Because you don't like to punt.
I would go 4.
Okay. All right.
9 games. No, wait a minute. Maybe 6. 6 and 9 games.
Well, Coach, we're thankful that you were able to spend a few moments with us. We do want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
At Canisius, and you'll be happy to know, or maybe not happy to know, that Williamsville South hired us to do all their games this year.
Awesome. I'm glad. No, Joe do
see how Joe's doing out there.
Joe do well. I'm happy for Joe, and I'm happy for the kids at South.
I get to see Joe tonight. He's coaching my son out there at his camp up in North Tonawanda.
Awesome.
He's a major project for Joe.
Well, Joe do a good job.
Joe's going to have as much hair as me when he gets done with him. Thanks, Coach.
Frank, I appreciate it.
All right, we know you got to get back
Love
down
you guys.
there.
Thank you, man.
So that's Coach Craig Kurzansky now taking over the Canisius Crusaders program. We're going to be bringing in another special guest, Coach Greg Sherlock, momentarily. We will take a quick break. We'll be back in just about 30 seconds.
I love being home.
We realize now more than ever is the perfect time to have the perfect house. We're confident we'll find your dream home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
We're back at Will North High School on the 7-on-7 open. We're not sure what to call this. Francis Beck is here. Thank God helping me out here. I was here early this morning, a one-man show, and I was butchering my way through it, but Francis got here to save the day. And, of course, Mark Nowater has been sweating his tail off out there on camera 1. He is on. Mark, what game are you on right now, anyways? Smart, no? Okay, you're on that game.
Orchard Park.
There he is. He's on the Orchard Park in
Niagara Wheatfield.
Yeah, there he is. Greg Sherlock, the coach of the Fredonia Hillbillies, joins me on this broadcast, and we welcome you in, Coach. It's great to see you. You had quite a season last year. A lot of great players. Unfortunately, I had to say goodbye to a lot of kids that had a major impact on your program. Nick Whitfield, Matthew Lauder, Simon Davis, just to name a few. How hard was it to say to that good of a core group of guys?
Oh, that was really tough. What was nice is we had a banquet in June at my house. Big tent, over 200 people attended, and it was a great farewell to some great seniors that gave us a lot of great years and really sent us in the right direction for the future.
Yeah, we're definitely going to miss some of those guys. I know Lauder's heading down to Cortland, and he'll get to play in that Cortica game.
Yes.
Cortland Ithaca, and that's going to be a lot of great experiences. He got a chance to play at the Ralph, New Era Field, Highmark Stadium, whatever they call it these days. You gave these kids a lot of great opportunities, and of course they earned it. They went out and did what they had to do. They beat some very impressive teams, had a great senior season, and that ultimately ended at Highmark Stadium. But even still, those are going to be experiences those kids will remember for a lifetime.
Absolutely, and it's not that I gave them something. I think they've given me a hell of a lot more than I've ever given them. What they've done is they've set the tone for future. The other kids know what the work ethic is expected of them. We have probably about 40 kids in our program going to a gym, not the school gym, but a gym down the road on Water Street in Fredonia. And we have our strength and conditioning coach, Chad Mason, that is one of our assistant coaches, that these kids are down there constantly. And we have about that many kids now working out. And a lot of it is what they see, what's happened to Nick's body and how it changed him, Matt Lauder's body, and what it's changed him. And, Simon Davis didn't show it, but he was such a strong kid. And if you look and these kids are still showing up to our practices when they're around, the kids that are going on to play football next year. But Nick Whitfield, of all, he left the day after graduation to be in camp at St. Francis down in Pittsburgh, and he's doing a great job. But now he's finding out the difference between high school and college ball, and it was nice. I got to see him last weekend at a graduation party. Came home, and
eye-opening,
but he is doing a great job.
So basically, you get to the level of play where he's at now. It's the absolute best players from your area, not from your division, not from your Class B. This is from all of your state, from all of Buffalo, all of Albany, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and that's down near Pittsburgh.
Correct.
I mean,
Correct.
Western Pennsylvania. That's where the Kellys came from. So how many guys came out of Western Pennsylvania to go and have exciting careers? And they go through programs like St. Francis where Nick is. So, yeah, I could imagine it's eye-opening. I saw him here. I've seen him a couple of times, and he is more athletic now than I had ever seen him. And he just continues to improve, and Lauder is just a beast. Now, I got to spend some time in Fredonia this coming weekend. So if you mean to tell me if I go into the gym in Water Street, and I need to get to a gym, I think we can all agree that I need to find my way into a gym. I'm going to bump into some of those guys, and I can go, match them on the weight bench machine, see if we can do a few more reps.
Well, we do a lot of things, not as much. We do the bench, but our kids do everything. But they
why are you laughing, Francis?
You'll run into some. But we're at the Cortland. We're going to Cortland for a 7-on-7 tournament.
You're going
on
with Pioneers?
Saturday.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yes, and
excellent.
then the weekend after we're in Rochester.
Okay.
So we get a chance, and it's good because we have different, obviously, receivers. We do have, 2 out of the 4 that started back from last year, and 1 that played quite a bit.
Is that Jamison Quinn
Jamison Quinn? We've got Micah, but Micah's going to be a running back also. We have Keegan Whitfield. We have Brandon Ronsky. And all those guys played a ton at a receiver last year. And, of course, Ethan Fry has gone from receiver back to play quarterback.
We watched him out there, and he's got a gun. I mean, he can throw it. Even with that win today, he seemed to still have a bit of a touch or some strength. And, of course, he's a dominant on the basketball court as well. How does that transfer to the football field?
Well, the confidence. He's in the weight room. He's gotten much bigger. He's always had a strong arm and been very accurate. It just the problem was he was sitting behind Nick, and it was great transition because he's such a great athlete. Not only as a wide receiver did he come in and play last year and started and did an unreal job, but he was a great safety, and it's going to be hard. I don't like my quarterbacks playing, but in big games we have to. We did that with Nick. We'll probably do it with Ethan, but we have a newcomer. He's a real good basketball player, and Jay Hawk. That he's a 6'4" kid that's athletic, and he's done a great job this summer. So,
and we'll see him on the football field.
Absolutely.
Talk about that line. You were very, very proud of the line last year and the work they'd done. Who's returning? Are you returning all 5?
No,
4 of the 5?
Obviously
Where are you
we're
there?
missing our 2 tackles, and Sean Farnham, who's now got almost a full ride down at Bethel University in Tennessee, and Ishmael Martinez. Those are 2 big boys. However, our interior's coming back. Owen Rush, who's going to be a 3-year starter coming up. He'll only be a junior. He was a first-team All-Western New York baseball player this year. We have Simon Price, our center back. We also have Matt Cash, a captain from last year that's coming back in the line. And we started a freshman, a defensive tackle last year who's gone from 335 pounds down to 265. And he's in the weight room, and you know we're going to miss some size because our tackles are just unbelievably big. But these guys are so fast and they're so experienced that I'm hoping that the speed will make up for the size that we had last year. And they're all strong. Every single one of those guys is in the weight room.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you were harping on that last year when we were talking that you were very proud of the work the guys were putting in the weight room. Now, so what do you take out of a 7-on-7 like today? What are you looking for? Obviously, you want to win every game. Yeah. It's just the competitive nature that you have and these kids have. But what are the telltale signs here? If I'm just a neutral observer, what am I looking for? And what did you see out of your team today that excites you? And what do you see that you know you're going to have to really address over the next couple of weeks before you head into training camp?
Well, we practice 2 to 3 days a week, and we go through a lot of drills, a lot of receiver drills, a lot of back drills, a lot of quarterback drills, and of course defensively. But offensively, we're looking for receivers that can run precise routes and get open. We don't want them to run, these hook patterns that are just, rounded off. We look for precise running and the exact routes they should be running, how crisp they are, who's getting open, who's, their speed is kind of hurting them. And because we've taken a lot of kids to Coach Overton, and they've gotten so much better. Whereas
wide receiver coach.
Yes, and Matt Polvino, one of our assistants, goes just about every single time. He has learned so much that we do the same exact drills at Fredonia for each and every kid. So it's on them to get to the practice and run these because they're not coming out here. These kids, you'll see kids that aren't getting in very much because they don't run the routes that they're practicing. And if they can't do it when they in practice, if they're not going full speed, they're obviously doing it here also. We do see that. I saw it today quite a bit. And some kids, I understand, they're so tired of going both ways, and it's hot out there.
Yes.
But we look for that. We look for our quarterbacks to be able to pre-read before snaps. So, but right now, it's going to be hard trying to find a backup quarterback. We've been blessed to have Nick and Ethan for all these years, and right now, kids didn't want to go up for quarterback because they weren't going to get playing time.
So it's a double-edged sword.
It's a double-edged sword, and I think we're going to have depth. And right now, I'm worried about the only place I'm worried about is quarterback, because if something happens to Ethan, we got to have somebody to go to. I think we have somebody, but they play other sports and they haven't been coming a lot in the summer. And it's our offense; it's different. Are we going to be just a passing team? I guess we'll see. But I think I'm going to change things based on what we did at the stadium last year.
If you had your druthers, would you like to go to more of a running attack?
Or do you have that's always been me. It took a lot for me to switch the offense we have. I was convinced by a lot of kids, and Nick Whitfield made it easy, and Matt Lauder made it easy.
Yeah.
But
in your line too,
I
obviously.
would like, I think in the stadium I should have had a two-back offense with a tight end, especially the weather. And I can tell you, being, coaching at Jamestown, coaching at Randolph all those years, I've never been in a playoff game that had weather like that. The field was always taken care of in that.
Remember that
game? That was difficult, and that's on me. It's on me. I should have had that two-back offense in. I've always had a pro offense, and I was convinced that we didn't need it, but we needed it.
Francis and I followed the Medina team bus, and I think we almost wiped them out on the way down by stopping a little too hard or maybe trying to get off at the wrong exit. So we could have maybe delayed that game a little bit. Sorry we didn't.
Well, it would have been nice.
You still got there.
We got there early. We went. Thank God that Frontier allowed us to go in their gym and warm up, and could have been on the field, but it wasn't. It was raining. It was cold, and so it's a lot to be said. I realized back in the old days we would have said, "Oh, we're tough. We're going to go do that kind of stuff." It's not that way. You keep kids warm as long as you can. As long as you're doing the same things you can do indoors, stay indoors.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, I know you said you guys are done for today, so I did want to thank you for spending some time with me up here. I hope to catch you. I've been down there. I'd like to go to that Fred's place on either a Monday or Tuesday night. So
let me know.
I'd love to see you
I'll
stop in there.
Down there. Yeah, absolutely.
Catch you over there for one, or maybe over on the pier.
You just tell me when. And not only that, if you get down there, we can have some pizza. My wife's family are the ones that have Campy's Pizza.
Okay.
On the pier.
That's okay.
First one.
Okay.
And, that's
right.
been well known for a long, long time around Pennsylvania and here.
Is that the place next to the cookies, the bakery?
I haven't been down to this year. I don't know what's next door. They've gone through so many things, but it's the very first.
That's why I don't go down there, because of the bakery. But
Campy's
maybe
Pizza.
I'll stop there first, and then I could.
When you have one piece of it, listen, you get one slice, it's going to fill you. It is.
I'll you know what? I'm going to do it on Friday.
Okay. My granddaughter. I have to go down to North Carolina for the weekend. Right. My granddaughter's being baptized. So.
You got a Cortland too coming up.
Yeah, I won't be able to make that.
But we may send Francis down there. He doesn't know it yet. He's really upset that I'm even thinking about making him drive all the way down there. We'll see what Mark's up to, also our camera guy. But Coach, thank you very much for joining me. I love when I get a chance to talk to you, and we're looking forward to get down there. I talked to Greg Lauer, the AD. He said that we could pull your footage. So your guys that are streaming down there, we could actually pull that out and get highlights and stuff. So
absolutely.
There'll be an opportunity to showcase your teams a little bit more. And Francis has we're not sure what we're calling it, if it's going to be Friday Night Lights again, or what did you call it last? The Final Drive, Friday Night Football Frenzy, something he's coming up with, where we're going to showcase as many games as we possibly could on Friday night. So we're excited about that, and hopefully Fredonia will be a big part of that as well.
Thanks for everything you guys do. You guys are awesome for these kids, and we appreciate it so much. They do, the parents do, and the service you provide is pretty amazing. Especially for Western New York. You do a great job of it.
I can't get my head out through that door. Keep talking. So stop. But thank you very much, Coach. Always a pleasure. And that was Coach Greg Sherlock from the Fredonia Hillbillies. Of course, he gets to coach with his sons, which is very cool. Have that opportunity. Hopefully, they will have a safe drive back to Fredonia. We'll catch them down there. And, folks, if you're out that way near the pier, Campy's Pizza, I will test it on Friday. I'll give it the Dave Portney Barstool service. One bite, and we'll see what happens there. But I'll be down there probably between 2 and 5. Between 2 and 5. I got to work in the morning, Coach. Francis doesn't give me any days off. I'll let you know, but I'll be back, and we're going to catch up. That was Coach Sherlock, one of my favorites in Western New York. He's been around high school football for decades. And Francis, I want to take a quick break before you come back, if you don't mind. Do you have something you want to throw at me? I've been throwing your name around, and you look like you wanted to beat me up a couple times already. Or did you want to go down and do the bench press with me in Fredonia?
I'm not doing a bench press.
All right.
I'm not in the right clothes.
Fine. It's Friday. You're going to wear that on Friday? I'm hopping around from camera to camera. But do you want to keep, what do we got down here? Niagara Wheatfield, is that Niagara Wheatfield and Maritime down there? Or is that north?
Looks like Niagara Wheatfield. Why don't we take a break?
Okay.
Because I think they just got underway, and then we'll catch the conclusion of this one.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much. You're watching on WNYathletics.com.
I love being home.
There's nothing better than owning the perfect house to come home to. You've earned it, and we'll make it happen. Our local real estate experts and in-house team of financial professionals make buying or selling your home simple. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
I love being home.
When it's time to sell your home, start with a visit to howardhanna.com, ranked the #1 real estate site for sellers. A few clicks will show you the sales price you can expect for your home. We can get you the most money in the quickest amount of time because we know where the local buyers are and how to reach them. So if it's time to sell your home, visit howardhanna.com today, and we'll match you with a local Howard Hanna agent to sell your home fast.
I love being home.
If you've been injured in an auto accident, large or small, call 681-4088. RES Physical Medicine and Rehab right away. If you are in pain or just sore, don't take chances. Call RES today and take advantage of their 24 to 48-hour appointment pledge. With no copays, RES will help navigate the confusing world of no-fault insurance with you, so you can concentrate on getting better. 681-4088. RES Physical Medicine and Rehab. The most important call you can make after an auto accident.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
Call 835-WOLF. Remember, you call on the Wolf. That's all you had to say. Call today.
We're back at Williamsville North High School in East Amherst on this beautiful sunny day. It's about 80 degrees on the field. Nice breeze coming through the press box. Frank Wolf, Francis Beck of WNY Athletics are here. We're watching on a couple of different. We got two games going on right now. We've got Canisius and Pioneer, who are undefeated up to this point, are playing on Turf 2. On Turf 1, which is what you're seeing on your screen right now, is we believe that's Maritime, and maybe that's Akron. Yeah, that's Akron, Francis. That's Maritime and Akron. It seems like Maritime's been on the field a lot. They've played a lot of games today. This is about their 4th or 5th game of the day.
Well, I think Coach Sherlock mentioned they played 4 games, so I think each team gets about 4 games. It's in about 4 games. I don't know if they're going to do a champion. It doesn't look like they're going to do a. I don't know.
I haven't seen Orchard Park once. I haven't seen them once today.
Well, Orchard Park is one of the few teams. Well, Double A's gotten smaller this year. There's only 5 teams there.
I haven't seen them on either field all day, and I've been here since we started. I haven't seen them play once.
Double A has 5 teams. Orchard Park's one of 5 teams. There's Hutch Tech, Bennett, Niagara Falls, Lancaster, Orchard Park's going to be in Double A this year. And, you kind of mentioned it with Coach Kurzansky. That opened up a couple of non-league games, including the Canisius Lancaster team. But of the teams in Double A, this appears at the moment a 3-horse race, which I think Bennett, I would say the favorite to repeat as Double-A champs this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with you. And, we know Bennett's picked up a number of athletes the last few months or so. One of the top running backs in the area, I guess, heading into the season anyways. Huge loss for Canisius, but it's Bennett's gain. And so, we'll have to wait and see what happens there and how Bennett develops. Or actually how Canisius develops and how Bennett continues to dominate that Class AA. It comes down to line play. We always say this, and Tom Prince is a big advocate for the line, and he's right. It's, can you buy your quarterback some time? Can you open up holes for your running backs? And that's what it comes down to. Can your receivers get open? Bennett's got the athletes. Dave got athletes. South Park, Dave got the athletes. That's why they're able to compete and dominate in AA and A like they have last so many years or so. Jamestown you could throw into that list. But AA, it comes down to Bennett and then everyone else.
Yeah, and I think one of the issues that Bennett has had over the years was discipline. I think we saw that 2 years ago, but I think last year they kind of – you noticed it from the beginning of the season last year. They made discipline a bigger focus last year. And I think it would, beginning of the year, and then I think after that Orchard Park loss in the regular season, I think that's when they really buttoned themselves up, and I think that's what kind of propelled them to the Superior Dome. And I think if they can carry that preparation, that discipline in this year, there were, games, sometimes they get frustrated, and you'd see multiple false starts and offsides and stuff like that. But but you didn't really see that, especially second half of last year. So they can continue that discipline into this year. Bennett's going to be a really scary team in AA, and who knows what's happening in the rest of the state. Maybe they have enough to get back to the Carrier Dome.
Yeah, the penalties that Bennett was taking seemingly every single game kind of went away. The offsides, the delay of games, the roughing, the passer, whatever, what have you.
The
unsportsmanlike, the undisciplined penalties that they were taking kind of went away, and I know there was a big emphasis of what Coach McDuffie wanted to do heading into the 2021 season. They did a great job of that. Where it really hurt Bennett, though, it wasn't necessarily in games during the regular season. It's the playoff games where you lose ground. You go from having a 4th and 3 to a 4th and 8.
Yeah.
Or you go for a 4th and 13. And now you're not even in field goal range. It's not that they kick field goals, but you're further in. At times you were having to punt from maybe now inside your 35, or maybe now you're punting from inside your 5-yard line, and before you're punting from the end zone. Silly things. So those types of penalties really hurt you, and they did a really good job of kind of phasing a lot of that stuff out. Will that continue? We'll have to wait and see. But they're doing a very good job coaching at Bennett these last couple of years in that respect. Certainly they caught our eye.
A division we haven't talked about is the Class B1. It's going to be West Seneca East, Burgard, Iroquois, Pioneer, Lakeshore, and Newport. We had Coach Dupree on earlier. I look at that division. We know that Trey Kleitz has gone from Iroquois, but both his wide receiver and running back are back, and his younger brother now takes over. You've heard a lot about. Is this Iroquois' division, or how much of a say is Coach Dupree and maybe Coach Marino going to have a say in that?
We know that the West Seneca East and the Pioneer team, even if they can't match you skill player for skill player, they're going to beat you up in the trenches. You're not going to face tougher teams, more disciplined teams than those two all year. Okay, they don't put themselves in bad positions. They just don't. Very disciplined teams, very sound running games, extremely sound running games. It seems they just find running back year after year after year. They do a great job in those programs of just bringing in tough kids and getting them groomed for high school football, both Pioneer and West Seneca East. With that said, Iroquois also brings in a transfer. I think they're calling him, I forget his name, but I know they call him like Big Red. And he's already taken over that program, and like he is the focal point. You think it's McGoldrick, you think it's Barry, but there's this Big Red kid that came in from Arizona, I think is where he came in from, and that's the kid they're really excited about. Big lineman, and I heard he's going to have a major impact in Western New York football. That's the way they're touting him. So,
well, I mean, I'm sure McGoldrick and Barry won't mind another lineman clearing the way for them.
Barry, and I might have said this on air, but Barry is just a junior. And he is built in every way, shape, and form like a Michael Riggerman of Pioneer. These two kids are special athletes, very smart, very gifted, very strong, powerful, and athletic. And when you have a kid like that on your roster, anything's possible. So Iroquois, to me, to answer your question, is probably the front runner, and a lot of that has to do with this kid, Trent Barry.
And of course, they're building a brand new stadium that we're hoping is going to be ready by the fall. It's going to be kind of across the street from the current field and where the school is. So, and that's supposed to be a great facility. Let's head to B2. You have East Aurora, Holland, Maryvale, Dunkirk, Olean, Cheektowaga, Albion, and Falconer, Cattaraugus, Little Valley, Maple Grove. And this Cheektowaga team has had a couple of down years. Obviously, they were in the Class B championship at the stadium, I think, like 4 or 5 years in a row or something crazy like that. And they've had some down years. I think since Keyshawn Beal left, they've had a couple down years, but they have Cameron Warburton, and you look at that division. This might be Cheektowaga's year to get back in the thick of things.
Yeah, I mean, they had a nice quarterback there last year that got injured early. I believe he's coming back as a senior. We'll have to see if he can make it back for the season healthy, and will he be as dominant, or will he prove to be a difference? I don't want to say dominant because we didn't see enough of him, but can he help lead that offense? And when you have a guy running like Warburton, who seemingly has a couple different gears he can run, he's fast, he's very powerful, tough to bring down. Can he keep the offense on the field? Can he lead that team? Because at this point, he is the main cog there at Cheektowaga. He's the main man, and that team's going to go as far as, at this point anyways, as far as Warburton takes them. We'll have to look and see when we can get to see Cheektowaga, see what else they have to work with out there. But they're excited about Warburton. Yeah,
and another kid in that division that pops out is Amari Jones from Albion. I come back to one of the best games I think last year was that Medina-Albion game. Was back and forth. It came down to I believe it came down to the final couple drives. Unfortunately, Jones got hurt in that game, and it hurt them as Albion got in the playoffs. But a kid like that, very electrifying, dual threat quarterback, and Albion's kind of far can be an hour drive on a bus for a team like East Aurora, for a team like Maryvale or Cheektowaga. And, if you got kids in there and they got stiff legs, they're not maybe fully ready to go, Amari Jones is going to give them a whole lot to deal with.
So, and Albion, it really is not that far removed from Highmark Stadium. I mean, they were there before the year of the COVID.
That's right.
So that's a team they have history. Albion is not new to playoff football in Western New York. Certainly, since we've been doing this, we may have not seen a lot of them. But prior to WNY Athletics coming on the scene, Albion was well known, like a pioneer, for having that tough roster, tough physical, hard-nosed players, and they were highly successful. So they're gearing up to get back to that. We'll have to wait and see if that comes to fruition.
Let's go quickly down to C North as these two matchups continue. Right now on your screen, you're seeing Pioneer against Canisius, and then the other side is Maritime against, what did they say, Akron?
Yes, Maritime.
Yeah, Akron.
Down there.
So we have that. Let's go down. Speaking of Akron, let's talk about C North. They're in a division with Tonawanda, Medina, Cleve Hill, Newfane, and then Royhart, Barker, Lindenville. And we saw a Medina team last year that I absolutely loved. I mean, you talk about, a lot of these teams, they have a great rushing attack. Some of them had a great spread offense. You put up 1,000 passing yards, 2,000 passing yards. But Medina was just balanced. And then, of course, at the stadium, who was it? Xander Payne running the ball, something we really hadn't seen him do all year. But it just kind of worked out. He had a couple sneaks QB runs, and it kind of worked out. He was able to take it in the end zone. So, I mean, that Medina team, just one of the best, with that kind of offset eye pistol offense, and they just had tons of athletes everywhere, and it gave them a lot of flexibility with that offense.
We'll have to see what they return this year. We haven't seen them out yet, but we are looking forward to seeing what Medina has to bring to the table for this 2022 season. We're kind of winding down here. I know there's Akron and Maritime-Health Sciences going at it on Field 1. Field 2, Canisius and Pioneer continue to get things done. We're going to switch over to Canisius Pioneer for just a moment. See how things are going. See, we just missed a touchdown on the Maritime side. Maritime just may have, it's touchdown on Maritime. But right now we have our cameras, we're just on Canisius and Pioneer. This was like an undefeated game earlier, so maybe this is a semifinal game and the two winners of these games will meet. I'll have to wait and see. Maritime, I believe, lost their first two games out, and then maybe they've gone undefeated since then.
Quickly before we wrap up, why don't we talk about I think we've talked about almost every division. Now let's talk about C Central. Lackawanna, Depew, Alden, Springville, Eden, Jayette, North Collins, and GFK. Depew had a good team, but they lose a couple of kids. Is this maybe Springville's year? I know they had a quarterback, I forget his name, who was at that showcase last year. Could this be maybe Springville's year to win the C Central and make their way to the playoffs?
Who else in the C Central again? I think Lackawanna.
You think Lackawanna
is going to have a lot to say about that. Alden has a new coach there. It's not Kenny Stolt, the former chairman, or still part of the Section 6 football, I should say, co-chairman, if you will.
Well, Coach Stolt is from Akron.
No, he's at Alden now.
Oh, he's at Alden.
Yes,
Okay.
He's an assistant coach there now. And I got to call him today. But anyways, there's a new coaching staff at Alden. They play on that Boise State field, right?
Well, it's a blue field.
Made famous by the Boise State, but still. I don't know where Alden is as a program. They haven't had much to work with these last few years. They haven't been as well balanced as other teams in that division. We'll have to wait and see. Is Eden North Collins still on the map in terms of having?
Yeah, they had a pretty decent. If I remember, they had a couple good
2 years ago
running. Yeah, wide
last
receivers.
year was okay, but I think Lackawanna with Getchell at quarterback could be one of the front runners. You could see the Lackawanna Steelers claim that division this year. We'll have to wait and see.
All right, and finally, we talked about C South earlier, so let's get to Class D. You have Portville, Wilson, Randolph, Cattaraugus, Little Valley, Gowanda, Franklinville, Elgaville, CSP, and a late addition, Frewsburg, up from 8-man football. Class D is packed this year. I didn't realize this. I didn't realize Wilson was moving down. It's going to be very interesting for them. They moved down to a lower division, but all of their away games are going to be about 2-hour rides.
Yeah, and I've been watching this kid on Pioneer. I haven't seen him in too much. This little guy here, he got absolutely ran over. Yeah, that kid's really small. Yeah, he was on the receiving end of a collision. Anyways, where are we? Maritime-Health, the Maritime-Akron game. Looks like Akron still has a couple more minutes in this one. These games are almost over because they only go for 25 minutes.
Oh,
wow.
It was a nice interception over there
by
the defender for Maritime. You can see those athleticism for Maritime. You almost wonder these 7-on-7s, like a team like Maritime who's more formidable, although we're hearing that they're going to try to up their passing game a little bit. How much of it they're here for their defense and their secondary working on defending teams who like to throw the ball, because they won't see that in practice. So they'll want to get good work on that over the summer to get that all situated.
Sure. Yeah. I know that the guy that coaching the defense is a Maritime athletic director over there. His name escapes me, but I'll get it before the end of the day. And of course, Alex Newts is down there working with Coach Parker. And there's a lot going on at Maritime. They reload too. They're like Canisius. They don't rebuild. They reload, just like Bennett. They reload. They don't rebuild. But I would say that we've probably done enough work here today, Francis. I hope you all enjoyed the opportunity we gave you today to check in on some of our high school teams. Still disappointed. Really didn't get a chance to see Orchard Park up close. So my apologies to the Orchard Park folks. I did not get a chance to see them today, and unfortunately we'll have to get them at the next 7-on-7. But Francis Beck and Martin Ward did a good job weathering the heat out there. Francis, thanks for coming in and saving us. Hopefully you'll help me clean this up. There's a lot. And that'll do it from Williamsville North High School. You watched high school 7-on-7 action. brought to you by WNY Athletics.
I love being home.
We realize now more than ever is the perfect time to have the perfect house. We're confident we'll find your dream home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.